presents the TUBCAST. Man in a Tub presents the TUBCAST.
Hey, welcome to TUBCAST. Sorry, I got really distracted listening to this Alex Jones single. It's really something.
It's something. It's
Super Deluxe. They super outdid themselves with this. Check it out. Nathan tweeted it to me tonight, and it's lovely. They went ahead and they wrote a folk song using Alex Jones lyrics.
It's a masterpiece.
It's really a
really
lovely thing. Jeremy's only unimpressed because he's a hipster and he doesn't like anything that everybody else is excited about because
Aren't I too old to be a hipster?
No, because if you would have sent this video, you would have thought it was hilarious. But since you didn't find it, you're acting like it's the stupidest thing you've ever seen in your life.
I don't think it's stupid. I was
you're
listening
just like,
to the words like old people do.
That's a weird thing to do to admit to right there. I'm just gonna say that's the grossest thing I've heard all night.
Honesty?
Yeah.
that's saying something because no one else understands what has happened in here, but that is saying something that is the grossest thing.
I can't help how Kuiper's mom's makes cookies.
I know why it's
She
the
does make
grossest thing,
cookies.
because you weren't listening to the words of Alex Jones.
Oh no, I was listening.
No, we were listening.
As you may have noticed, I was mouthing the lyrics.
Yeah, how many times have you watched that video, Nathan?
Twice.
He knows all the lyrics now.
It's not that long a video.
Nathan knows all the
You're
lyrics to
impressed.
everything.
You impress me.
Thank you.
That was just
Sing
bizarre.
Freebird, Nathan.
Freebird. I don't actually know Freebird.
Oh, stumped. Nobody
What?
sings that
Is
song,
that a thing
though.
people say?
I don't know.
Stomp. Hashtag stomped. Yeah, I like it,
Can't
Jeremy.
it be?
That should be. You
You know
should
how
make it
things
the-
start? Someone says it.
I
That's
know.
the title of this episode.
Every time.
Hashtag stump.
stomped.
We don't
Jeremy
even
said
title
it.
I will
episodes.
clarify. I did not say hashtag.
I know, but we added
Okay,
it.
all
It
right.
needed it.
All right.
Don't fight it, Nathan.
We're
Just-
workshopping it.
I just
Jeremy.
want to use that.
Maybe
Like,
the original's better, is all I'm saying.
like a tree's gonna start disrespecting my family, and then I'm gonna cut it down and just look at its stump and be like, hashtag stomped. And then
I'm tweeting it right
and then
now.
that tree's gonna be like, oh, he's right. I can't argue this. I got stumped by this dude. He stumped me so hardcore. I'm totes stumped. It's lit.
Totes stumped.
No, Alex Jones has been in the news a lot.
He really has.
And he got some of his stuff removed from.
Sounded like he farted a little.
I farted a little in the microphone. It's fine. I had a big pot of chili before the TUBCAST, like I do every week. But I have a big tub of chili.
Big old bowl of chili.
And then I go to my child custody court case every Thursday, and then I come here.
But forget your kids' names.
Yeah, I don't remember them. I think
Chili.
it's like
Because of the
Tabitha,
Children chili.
and Derek, I think, are my kids' names. Anyways,
Sounds right.
yeah. So, I think there was a little misunderstanding about him being removed from iTunes because technically their apps are still in the Google Play Store and in Apple Store, the InfoWars app. So, and the crazy thing is because he was removed from iTunes and YouTube and all that, the app downloads have just like skyrocketed.
Of course.
So,
Of course.
people
Of course.
got to get their Alex Jones. I mean, that's just.
I mean, where else do you get your chili?
I mean, yeah. What are you gonna what else are you going to do with your life?
I don't know.
Other than eat chili.
But if they come for Alex Jones and we say nothing,
Then they'll come for
then
us,
they'll
too.
come for Rush Limbaugh,
they'll
and we'll say nothing.
Oh, heaven forbid.
They'll
And
come.
then-
They'll come for us because of that lie we posted about those cannibals.
Oh.
But it is one of our most popular
it is our
videos on YouTube.
yeah.
Oh, I
It's
figured
that
it was
idea.
going to be the kangaroos in Utah thing.
That's like 200 plus weeks ago that we talked about that.
Yeah.
Hey, Kuipers, if you look in the Google Doc, I put a link to that video, so that way everyone can see it at home.
So
And then
just
just click it and put it in the screen.
Hey, thank you for hosting us to multiple viewers
Jolliver.
there. Jolliver.
2 people are watching his stream. Thank you. So, so I'm a horrible person. Horrible, you know.
Horrible.
But
just horrible.
Jeremy, I don't mean to beat this up. I know you're not enjoying it, but I
What?
really
Not
think it's
enjoying
funny.
what?
But I want people to watch it. I know it's a 2-minute video, but like, let's watch this together and let's
I
just.
never said
enjoy-
I didn't enjoy it.
I know, but I thought you were mad at
Your
me.
face said
said
it,
that.
that you
Your
didn't
face said
enjoy
you're-
it.
because I was listening to the words going, this
Okay,
guy
now
is so cringeworthy.
Now you can see the words.
I
now-
don't. The most Alex Jones I get is when, Eric, you talk about Alex Jones. So for me, hearing all the things he was saying in this song
was frightening.
was super frightening.
Okay.
Exactly. And I was like, wow.
I think it was just a misunderstanding.
It's
that-
all true.
that
That's what I
maybe-
was thinking.
That maybe you were like a fan of his. I think that
Oh,
maybe was
that's
misconstrued.
not the case at all. No.
So, but I don't know. Yeah, let's give it a little listen while we watch the words.
Oh, the words help. Yeah.
Should we start it over? Kuiper, start it over. So Jared, we can all get it right from the beginning. We missed some
You
words.
don't
Yes.
want it missed.
Everyone needs to.
We need to see
I guess.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, play. There it is.
I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers, scum. They're on giant death factories, keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green
Literally.
Literally.
and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies.
I have them on video.
Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man.
It almost sounds like they said sex stuff.
Yeah.
She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears all over her head. That woman, number one, is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur.
That's a reference people should get.
I love the fact. I love the why.
B-roll of him with his shirt off.
Vampire pot,
Why did he look like he was in such pain walking through a river?
Literal.
Spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice and itself rising up against us. Millions upon and people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good. Oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
The cut at the end.
Oh, man.
To that.
I got a question, you know, like after seeing some of that stuff and hear what he says and like the things that people take from him. Do you think that his audience maybe has a combination of people who just wait with bated breath on everything he says and believe every word he says.
Oh,
and then there's a
absolutely.
Yeah.
different. But no, I know. But I'm just saying. I know there's people like.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying that's part of the crowd. But do you suppose there's another part of his audience who just listen because of the train wreck? Like they just.
I'll be honest.
Isn't that what
after
you are?
watching this, I kind of want to watch him just for the train wreck.
See, that's not what I am. The only reason I see his stuff is because I have friends and family who post his videos on my YouTube, on my
because they're
Facebook
the
page.
other
Okay.
type.
And
Right.
so, and I'm not going to say anything about what they are or what they aren't. I don't know why they post them, but I will watch them and go, what? and then, and
Then you need to go get that bowl of chili and
Yeah.
forget about it.
yeah, and I go, wow, I identify with this man on a level that I cannot understand. His commitment to playing a character and just sticking to it is amazing. If you watch his
So
interview,
you feel it's a character? I'm just curious.
He has admitted on
I
record
think-
that,
yeah,
that all the stuff, that most of the stuff he says is complete malarkey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like last week, one of his lawyers had come out and said, if you believe everything that he says, you're kind of an idiot.
yeah,
Like, and then in the same breath, this week they're trying to get all the Sandy Hook parents' addresses released, like, and made public. Oh, Jeremy, you and those radishes,
I don't
man.
know what you're talking about.
So the thing that's interesting,
you stink.
There's a Joe Rogan
Smells like sulfur.
There's a Joe Rogan interview with him with Alex Jones talking about this stuff, and like Joe's like, hey, I mean, you used to be a pretty staunch liberal. Like, what is this thing you're doing? Like, so I don't know. It's interesting to hear him. He developed a character which grew an audience, and
And he's making bank.
I think it got to a fever pitch where he knew he had to maintain that entertainment shock value to keep his audience hooked. And he would latch onto every conspiracy theory. Like, I don't think any of them were ever his original thought. He would just latch onto a conspiracy theory he would hear. Like when the Sandy Hook thing happened, that there were actors and all this other nonsense.
Do you think
he would-
he's just laughing on the inside the whole time?
I don't think he is now, but I think maybe, I don't know.
He might have fought with monsters too long and become the monster.
Yeah,
It's
I
hard to
think
say.
it's a thing you got to ask yourself though. Like when you're that type of a person, like the lines of entertainment and information have been blurred, and then also that means the line of fact and fiction has been blurred, and now you're responsible for disseminating misinformation to the public. And how do you kind of live with yourself with that, you know? And I think at some point it's got to be an internal battle to where you go, an internal battle of your conscience. Like, do I just finally tell people, hey, this is an act, or do I just buy into it wholeheartedly, let them?
But at the
believe
same
me,
time, you
and-
have people on Facebook who quote, the Christian Bee or Babylon Bee or whatever that site is.
Babylon.
Yeah, but
Babylon Bee.
most of the time I think
And
they know it's ironic.
Well, I
though.
know, but why do people not see this that way? I guess
Because
is what-
this doesn't present itself in
Yeah.
that way. The Babylon Bee is built in the same way that the Onion is, where it is like 100%. It says, "Hey,
Satire.
we are satire. This
Yeah.
is entirely make believe."
There's nowhere on Infowars website
Yeah.
that you're going to find a disclosure like that. And
Yeah.
so
Also, the kind of stuff he talks about on Infowars is the kind of thing that people already believe. Nobody goes around saying, "Oh yeah, Jennifer Aniston adopted 3 adults this week."
yeah,
True. Yeah.
I mean, I believed
Did
it.
she?
Because
No, that was an Onion story.
because you can't adopt adults.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's
But
interesting
did she
too.
try?
Don't over-explain the
so-
joke,
no,
Jeremy.
Did she try?
This is why satire doesn't always work with Jeremy. Is that why?
That is why.
he lives in a literal world, okay?
My
I
best
don't
friend
realize
lives
I'm-
in a literal world.
Being satirical.
But it is interesting to see I won't say the argument, I'll say the conversation around this. And it's kind of the first time a big name has had like a YouTube channel completely taken offline for their content, and then YouTube comes in and says, hey, well, he's going against our rules and our guidelines, but yet a lot of other channels have in the past, and they haven't been struck with this steep of a punishment. Now, the other thing is, from what I understand, Facebook is saying that his stuff was removed because of of hate speech. But I am naive to that or ignorant to that. I mean, I didn't look into it, so I'm not sure what they're claiming or what he did say. Was it something about the only thing I did hear is like rumors of a Holocaust denial stuff or something like that?
I heard that he was encouraging people, perhaps indirectly, to harass Sandy Hook parents at their children's tombstones.
So that's what makes things
Right.
hate speech,
okay.
right? So the difference between a Holocaust
He just burped
denier,
again, warning.
I did. The difference between a Holocaust denier and hate speech is in the incitement of violence against people.
Oh,
So you can say whatever you want if you believe it, but if your goal or if because of your speech your intent is for people to cause harm on others, that's when it becomes hate speech.
Well, I think it's interesting too because a
you
lot
deny-
of.
go ahead.
Oh, what were you going to say?
I just the idea of someone denying the Holocaust is so flabbergasting to me. Like I am just set back every time I encounter that conversation. How can you deny something with so much physical
You mean
living
You mean
facts?
like how round the Earth is?
I
I
know,
was just
but
gonna say
I
that.
mean, I get it. Sure, that's something that people
Or
do.
that we went to the moon?
Yeah, no, I get it, but I feel like I feel like the Holocaust. There are living people still. I mean, not many of them anymore, but there's still people living who lived through it. There are people. There are so many photographs of emancipated
I remember
bodies.
When I was
There are
16,
so
I
many.
visited the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam, and there you can't go to a place like that and not feel the history.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I read the book when I was in high school. I read the book Was God on Vacation, and it was written like a kind of a first-person experience of a Holocaust survivor. And I think there was partially as a teenager there was this morbid curiosity of what this was, but it had such an impact on my life at that point because just hearing what these people went through and hearing how this dude like. He hid in a pile of corpses and played dead for like hours and hours and hours until like he could sneak out of this internment camp. And just hearing his story about he was kind of like worked with the freedom fighters and they're like there's this one part in the book where they like literally did the whole they ran a wire between two trees while Nazi soldiers would drive through it past it and they would decapitate him and like on motorcycle they'd like be driving down the street but I mean it's crazy to hear these stories and I mean some of them are I think it's human nature to hear extreme evil. I think it's the same with the Sandy Hook stories. I think with the people that are going to deny that and 9/11 and a lot of other things where people deny it, I think it's human nature to hear these extreme acts of evil and for humans to just be like, I can't believe that's true. Like there has to be another explanation for it. There cannot be this type of evil in the world. And I think that's where a lot, like at the root, that's where that comes from a lot of times is people go into denial because they don't want to admit to themselves that this could actually exist. And it's easier for them, even though it's hurtful to the victims, it's easier for them to twist this and go,
To feel better about themselves.
yeah, to be like,
in some
well,
way,
or feel
about
safer,
society.
almost,
Feel
you know,
safer,
and to make up these lies about it.
There's also an element of kind of along the same lines you were just saying. So I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting you.
Yeah.
But there's also an element of I just refuse to believe that the world is that unpredictable.
Yeah, true. Well, and I think that kind of can go hand in hand. I
Right.
mean, there are things that happen in our lives that that you can't relate to until it happens to you. Like you can't relate to something until you have a personal experience in that. And I think that's. I mean, and not to like cut into it. We kind of didn't. We opened the show really weird.
No, I like it.
But kind of going into like what happened this week, I want to talk a little bit about what happened to me on Friday, because it's like I'm still like in PTSD mode. But now I got in a car accident, and it's just one of these things where I've heard people talk about it. I've heard people that have experienced it, gone through with different things and stuff, and it's just the thing where you don't realize how shaken you are until it happens to you. You don't realize how much it changes your world. Like, and it's just this thing of like, I mean, fortunately my family's safe. The guy that hit us, he's fine. And it was really, for it to happen the way that it did, it's probably the best case scenario if it's going to happen, like in a lot of ways.
Sure.
But it was still one of those things, we're going 35 mile an hour and come to a complete stop because a car hits you, like, and you don't really have much time to even hit your brakes. Like that's a very, I mean, it's a pretty good impact. Airbags went off, but it's that thing of like, getting behind the wheel now is like a nerve-wracking experience. Like driving to work is trauma, like for me right now.
You're gun shy.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
like I felt like today, I told my wife, I was like, I feel like I'm starting to get my sea legs back today a little bit. Like I felt, hey, I can drive the speed limit now. Like it was just like, and it's just this thing of like, I'm constantly expecting someone to just pull out in front of me. And I think I always prided myself as a good driver, but that moment of you have no control over it, I still feel guilt that I should have been able to do something. And to come to the point where you go, I have to release this guilt because there is literally nothing I could have done. Like absolutely nothing. And that's the thing where and it's hard for me to even say that because I think if I heard someone else say that, I would argue with them. Like I know myself well enough that I wouldn't take that as an excuse. But it's hard because also living through it and experiencing all of it, it's just like I mean, I'm sure there could have been maybe a split second move I could have made that might have changed the outcome, but I only could have seen it for the worse, like it could have, the car could have impacted the side where my wife and daughter was. We could have moved into oncoming traffic and it would have been a worse accident. I don't know, but it happened so instantly, that it's one of those things where, we didn't see the car because, they didn't see us because of another car is what the story was, but he just pulled right out in front of us. It's one of those things where, yeah, you until you experience it, you don't know how to relate to it. And I think this goes back to even a tweet. Nathan and I have been talking about white supremacy tattoos lately. When I was on vacation a while back, I saw a guy at a water park with white pride tattooed on his shins. And that was another experience where I was just like, you hear about these people, maybe even you see them on TV, but until you see it, there's this weird human connection that happens when you're face to face with this type of a thing. And it's like,
Or face to shin.
Face to shin, which actually I literally was because I was in the pool and he was walking by. So so it was literally that scenario. But I think it's one of those things where you, until you have a human, personal experience with something, you don't know how to relate. And I think that it's such a hard lesson for everyone to learn. And it's for me, like as I get older, I'm still learning that lesson because I'll still hear something someone tells me and immediately be a skeptic. I'll immediately be critical of it. And as I experience more in my life, it's just like, okay, I don't know. I don't know how you change. I don't know how you get better about it other than just try to be more understanding until you can be in that person's shoes. And I feel like a lot of times I'm an empathetic person, but maybe I'm not as much as I like to think of. Anyways, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but all this kind of just led me down this path. And talking about this Holocaust stuff, it's like, how can you rob someone of that tragedy? I don't mean to say that, like, obviously it happened to him, so you can't rob it in a way that's like, oh, we took it away, now none of that actually happened. Like, but rob them of.
If you could, though, that would be nice.
That would be great. But
yeah,
the only thing you can do
but denying it is even worse.
Yeah, you're robbing them of this thing that is part of their identity, that's shaping their whole life, that like they've lost multiple family members to. They watched their family die, and then you just say, that didn't actually happen. Like, and it's just crazy to think that that's kind of what we're living in now. And I think in America right now, it's maybe more so that way than it has ever been. This contention of everybody fighting at each other, and nobody believes anything anybody says just because they don't like the person's viewpoint.
And you're right. It's like it's insane because it doesn't matter what somebody else's viewpoint is. It's like there's this idea now of, we can't possibly get along if you think this way or that. That seems like it's at an extreme from what I have seen in my lifetime. And it probably isn't. It's probably always been there. It's just been quieter. And now with the echo chambers that we have with social media, you can see it that much louder.
Thanks, Putin.
boisterous and everything else.
I broke Jeremy.
They're there.
You said echo chamber. I think Putin. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know what you mean though. And
That's what Jeremy's doing with the radishes.
He is echoing that radish smell all over my
I meant
face.
he was Putin it.
he's been Putin that
He's
radish.
been
So
putting
good.
it out his mouth.
It's so good.
It's nasty.
It's interesting you bring up the echo chambers thing because I've also been thinking about that a lot lately with my social media feeds and like other people things I see them say, and it's like that's another thing. Like how do you combat that? Because you're not going to change people's mind by just posting a contrary opinion. Like that's never
Right.
going to like change someone's opinion. But I don't know.
The other strange part of that is the people that will like decide that they're going to remove you from their feed because you posted something that they don't agree with. And it's like you're just isolating yourself to think that the world is entirely like you if you're removing all of these comments. And
I don't know. There's some that you just don't want to see, though.
well, I mean, sure, but I see.
I mean, there's some people where I realize they're just that crazy, and I don't need to participate in that.
Sure.
Yes.
And I understand that, but I mean I have people that are literally those people that will spend their entire day, and it seems like their entire life right now revolves around posting on Facebook just anger about the administration that we have in Washington. And it's like, okay, that's fine. I see your name, and I immediately know I'm scrolling past you because you have nothing else that's good to say about life or anything.
Just hide them.
But at the same time, I don't want to have that hidden because it's like I know that that's there. I know that that's somebody that has an opinion, and sure, I don't care that you are angry all the time about the way that this is, and you know that your life is. I don't know. That kind of stuff also makes me sad when your entire life turns into this. I need to hate and just hate spew everything on the internet about how upset I am about Washington, and it's like life goes on and make a difference instead of just being grumpy about it and posting all day.
But I think you're right, Kyle. It's like there's a point where it is dangerous to isolate yourself from every other opinion out there but
Right.
your own.
I think that's part of the reason that people can't talk to each other about that stuff anymore. Because if you have a friend that doesn't agree with you, it's so much easier today to completely cut that opinion off because you can just press that hide button, so you don't have to even think about what anybody else says. And I mean, it just eliminates like
I
some of
guess
the critical thinking in some of that too.
Since I love to argue so much, I almost want to
No.
highlight the people that disagree with me, because then it gives me something to talk to them about.
Yeah, well, you're just not like everyone
you're a
else.
special
Jeremy.
gem in the rough. That's all. We panned for gold and we got a Jeremy.
Wow.
Got a Jeremy.
I don't know if you've polished that turd as much in the past.
I
Wait,
never
what
called
turd?
did
Are
today.
you calling yourself a turd?
No.
I was not. I was calling him a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
I was.
I don't know what you're trying to say, Jeremy. Are you?
His attempt at a compliment was the turd.
Why
Was
can't
a
you
turd.
just accept a compliment?
He's saying you're unique.
You're special and we
thought-
love you.
Okay, I'm lost.
Don't overthink
It's
it.
fine.
Fine.
It's
Jeremy, compliments to Jeremy are
I love
just
you,
like
Eric.
birthdays. He
Just so you
hates
know.
them.
yeah.
He doesn't want to be appreciated in any way, shape, or form unless it's one that he appreciates.
Maybe it's because I'm more. I question the authenticity more often than not.
Or you just don't value yourself enough.
No, that's definitely not it. I totally value myself a lot.
Or you value yourself too much.
You don't believe that?
I don't believe that.
Wow. Now I feel
Now, this is
like
like
I
that
need to.
time when York
show
got
you
told
in
he was
some way.
suicidal.
I feel like you'd just be
I
compensating.
have been in the past, but that's a dark time we don't talk about.
Not you. I was talking about a comic book.
Thought you were talking about me.
No.
I also thought you were talking about him.
There,
What comic book character are you talking about?
Yorick.
Oh, yes, Yorick.
No, but it is. I think it is a dangerous thing though to completely isolate yourself from contrary opinions. Like I feel like it's dangerous because if you can just turn that off and you don't have to think critically about other people's opinions, that I mean, if it just makes you mad all the time, like if it's just a thing where you see someone and they say something you don't agree with and it just makes you mad, then I feel like there's something that in you that you need to like look at and figure out like why is this making me angry, and maybe kind of explore that stuff. Jolliver has a nice long. He wrote a nice dissertation in the chat here. I'm gonna go ahead and read that. Maybe did he? Wait, is he citing?
I think this is
a
Patton
quote?
Oswalt.
Oh, okay. Go for it, Kyle. You're our resident
Well, he said,
reader.
you've got to respect everyone's beliefs, in quotes. No, you don't. That's what gets us in trouble. Look, you have to acknowledge everyone's beliefs, and then you have the right. You have to reserve the right to go, that is effing stupid. Are you kidding me? I acknowledge that. Gosh, dang it, Jeremy. That burp. My gosh, I can't even read. I acknowledge that you believe that, and that's great, but I'm not going to respect it. I have an uncle that believes he saw Sasquatch. We do not believe him, nor do we respect him. And I think that they're...
Patton Oswalt is just a jerk. Respect
Yeah,
your
yeah.
uncle.
Respect
He
your
probably
uncle.
saw a Sasquatch, okay?
No, but I think that there's some value in that.
Sasquatch.
Absolutely. Because I think that when we lose the fact that, you know, other people can believe something, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're right. It doesn't mean that you're right either. There's differences, and when we section ourselves off based on those differences, it's where we get ourselves into a lot of trouble.
And I think there's varying degrees. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think there is a lot of truth in what you were saying, Kyle.
But you're wrong.
To Jolliver's point, though, in an attempt to marry these 2 points
Please.
In matrimony.
Go on.
and make them kiss.
Do it right now.
He wants to make thoughts kiss. It's his new book, Intellectual Makeout.
That actually sounds like a great book title.
Nathan, please write that book. Please write that book.
Okay.
I will buy it.
Anyways,
Where
go back.
was I?
You're going to make the
You're
thoughts.
going to marry
yeah.
the thoughts.
I think we need to have a better understanding of what makes an argument a good argument. Because Patton Oswalt's uncle seeing Sasquatch, you need to have some basis on which to talk about that if you're going to have a respectful dialogue.
Yeah.
Because pure anecdotal evidence is not evidence. And that's all Patton Oswalt's uncle has.
Unless he had photos.
Right.
Right, if he has photos or some other sort of physical evidence, that would be something that you could discuss and go, even if there's some ambiguity there, you can say, okay, I can see why you would say this is a Sasquatch.
But you're still wrong.
But I think it's
But
also...
I think it is more likely that you are wrong.
I think we live it. We lack in this culture right now. We lack any tact. Like there's no like if I were to come to you guys right now and if I legitimately saw Sasquatch, let's say I legitimately saw Sasquatch, I was out camping one weekend, yeah, right, and I saw Sasquatch.
There's a lot of holes in your story already.
So many reasons we don't believe you.
No, but let's just say I'm not even presenting it to you right now. I'm just telling you, like, if from my perspective, if I saw Sasquatch and I really saw, I freaking saw Sasquatch, and I'm like, I didn't get a photo of it. I have no proof, but I saw it. I come back and I'm on the podcast here. Even I feel like I would have the tact to go. Now I would preface it with, you guys probably think this is crazy. I would preface it with, I'm not completely sure, even though I was completely sure. I would still pretend not to be sure because I don't want to sound like a crazy person.
Because you know how crazy
it sounds.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of things that I would tactfully present. Now maybe I was sleepy. Maybe I had something dirt in my eyes. Maybe I stumbled upon an extremely hairy nudist.
Maybe we were just playing a practical joke on you, and we're all in on it.
I don't. Yeah, maybe.
It was really Kuipers.
We
dressed him up.
I was the left
Sasquatch.
foot.
Maybe there's a lot of, but I feel like I would present it in a way that was like that. I would try to get you on my side by pretending that I didn't necessarily believe what I saw, right?
Or you didn't know if you could believe what you saw.
Because that's the only way I'm even going to get you guys to remotely hear my argument. But if I'm like a Facebook post, I would just go like, Sasquatch exists. I saw it this weekend. You don't believe me? Screw you. You're dumb and stupid. Go away. I saw Sasquatch. Hashtag Eric saw Sasquatch.
See, and I would just keep it to myself because I'd go, they're going to laugh at me and they're not going to believe me anyway.
See, I would do the Jeremy thing.
So they don't deserve the truth.
I'd just be like, you know,
I guess me and Sasquatch.
unless I can do something with this information, I don't know that seeing Sasquatch is worth the trouble.
Sasquatch and I, we have a very, just a tight-knit connection now.
I mean,
saw
I would
it.
also go to
It
the
exists.
extent of getting borrowing all the camera equipment from the studio and the recording equipment and going back to the same place and camping every weekend, not telling anyone about it until I got proof.
Yeah.
And then I would come back and go, ha ha, see.
And that's how Jeremy
then you would-
became Captain Ahab.
And then you'd still laugh at me. Yeah. It's good.
He has the beard for it. I actually trimmed it up a bit.
I do that from time to time.
I know. It looks nice.
See now, Eric, in your first scenario, I still wouldn't believe you,
Yeah.
but
You'd at least entertain my
I would at least,
anecdote.
I would at least hear you out.
Commentary.
Yeah.
Now, if your anecdote ended with, I saw Sasquatch and he wants us to drive the Jews out of the U.S., I'd go, okay.
I believe that something happened to you.
Yeah.
You gotta do what Sasquatch says, man.
Yeah. He's holding me ransom for Jack Links.
Oh no, you didn't see Sasquatch in the forest. You bumped into Alex Jones.
Yeah.
At one of his spiritual getaways.
He's a furry.
I would check your shins immediately.
Not every Nazi gets tattoos.
I'm just saying.
Just most of them.
Hashtag not all Nazis.
Yeah.
Oh no, no.
Nathan, I know you meant well with that statement.
Let's stay away from that
Let's
hashtag.
back off that one a little.
All right.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. It's entirely the tact, and I think it's the tact to be able to not have to fight someone when you think that they're absolutely wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, great, you think that, I think this, cool, and just go on with your life and be friends. I mean,
Or don't.
Well, no, but I mean, okay, you think about it, and I just finished watching Last Chance U, which is a documentary about football on Netflix.
Football.com.
Yeah. Well, no, and so this year there's a team that's in Kansas that they followed, and they've got a rivalry.
When they do away games, do they all say to each other, "It looks like we're not in Kansas anymore"?
No, because most of their away games are still in Kansas.
Oh, okay. Sad.
But so they had the last episode. They've got a game against their rival that lives it's a town that's only 16 miles away, and they're both small towns in the same community, same county and everything. So it's this huge rivalry between them. But yet at the same time, all of those they showed the visitor side, and there's people that have Kansas City Chiefs hats. So these people absolutely hate each other based on the junior college football team, but on Sunday morning they're all friends because they're all going to be rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. This idea of not getting along just because you don't agree on something, it doesn't mean that you can't get along and find something else that you can get along with people about. And that's the thing that I think that we've lost too, is the ability to be able to disagree about things and separate that from who a person actually is at their core. Just because they may have a different opinion, or they may think that somebody, that they may think something differently, doesn't mean that that they're actually the worst person in the world, or they're even coming from the worst perspective or trying to be that way.
Well, what do you think it is that is inside of a person that because I've experienced it. Thanks, Nathan.
You've experienced being inside a person?
Yeah.
Magic school bus?
Yeah.
Sorry, had to go there.
That's been a while since I heard the tugboat.
Magic school
So
bus.
there's no, dear me, I did not shrink down into a microscopic size with a bunch of school children in a bus piloted by a redheaded
And learn
school
about
teacher.
and learn about red blood cells.
I did not do any of those things.
Honey, I Shrunk the Eric.
I did.
Okay, I'm glad you did, Nathan.
All right.
I hope you had a good time. No, but I think it is.
all right.
What is it that because I've experienced it too, where I've read something and I've just been like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely false. How are they just posting this this thing is not real. Right away, I go to Snopes, and I'm like, Snopes.com. Okay, is this true? And it's like, false. And then I like copy the link, and I go back, and I start like ranting, and I go to hit enter, and I just anymore. I used to always hit the button and just go click. Two things. One, now everybody just goes, Snopes is liberal platform for people to blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. So I can't use Snopes anymore with anybody. But the other side of it is I realize that like I'm starting to, I think I valued being right more than I valued gaining the respect of that individual. And I know that sounds weird because it's like, well, you don't need people to respect you. If they're stupid, why would you want their respect? And you know, but I still think there is something to putting yourself in a place where you're like, I still, you know, if I feel that I am worth other people's respect, I should honor that going both ways, whether they're able to or not. Like if I think if I'm valuable enough to get respect from people, even if I don't agree with them, then I should be willing to acknowledge that and go, all right, I'm not going to hit enter this time, you know?
Right.
And it's like, and so I've tried to like sometimes like finesse it in a way where I'm like, you know, the 5-minute manager thing where I compliment them and then say, you know, but I wonder about this, and like subtly kind of try to bring it in. And, you know, it's still, I'd say 90% of the time it still ends with them going, well, you're wrong because of this. And then I just go, oh, okay, good point. And then I just walk away from it because I'm at a point now where I'm so tired of arguing. And I think I used to be the type of person that if I knew something was true, I could not handle the injustice of someone spreading lies about it, you know, like I was just like, this is
believing it
yeah,
themselves.
and it's like I
Right.
can't handle this. Like you just this is crazy, and it would
Now
it'd
you
make me mad.
understand the angry atheist phase.
And but it's just this thing of where I'm like, I gotta be cool with it. Like I just gotta have to like sit back and chill, and try to respect their viewpoint, even though they're insane.
Well, and some of
See,
that
I look at it completely differently.
Okay, I gotta hear this. Sorry, Kyle. Hold your
he's
thoughts.
Sorry.
arguing with you right now.
I'm
just so
not.
you-
I'm not. I'm saying I look at it differently. There's the difference between that and telling him he's wrong, because I don't think he's wrong. It's just how you know he.
No, let me hear
does
it.
it.
I didn't say you were arguing.
I was
That
just making
Kyle.
a joke.
I have some similarities to that as I get older as well, but I think the difference for me is there's some people I think I get to the point of realizing they don't want to know the truth, so it's not worth my time.
Okay,
And that, but I still argue with some people. But most of the people I argue with, I would say that they're also the personality type that is posting it because they want to have the debate, and the debate is at least intellectual. Like there's
Are you sure about that?
with the ones that I debate with, yes.
Okay.
Because
I don't know who they are,
I tend
so
to start avoiding the ones that are just completely
Spewing nonsense.
well, unwilling to engage in a proper debate, right? Where it becomes more about a fight than it does about a difference of opinion and seeing where the other person's coming from and things like that. Because there's plenty of people out there who do want to have a positive debate
Civil
about a civil debate.
discord.
Yeah. But there's more people out there who just want everyone to agree with them. And those are the people I try to avoid, is the ones that I know that they're not willing. There's no point in it anymore. You know, I used to be like, now I want to irritate them to the point where they question themselves. I used to be that guy, and maybe there's times
That's fun though. That's the
It
best.
totally is fun,
Isn't it?
But at
the
some
sport
point, it's
of
a
it.
waste of my time.
It is, but it's the
You know?
sport. I literally there
There's-
are times where I have seen someone, I have slightly argued with someone on Facebook in a polite way, and they've lashed out at me in an angry way,
So
and
then
I would
you go,
screenshot
"Here
it.
it goes."
I would screenshot it and send it to Jeremy,
Yeah,
and I would go,
that's true.
Jeremy, sick him. He'd be like,
That is true.
And I
It's
would,
been a while.
It is,
It's
and I
been a
would
long
sit back
time.
and I would just joyously watch Jeremy tear these people apart until they cried themselves to sleep, and it was my favorite thing to do because
I've seen those.
I didn't quite have the heart to say it the way he did, and I knew he would just
You
do
knew
it.
I would do exactly what you wanted because you knew I understood your perspective.
Oh, and it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the sport of it, but it's just like there is not. I don't see the value in it.
Yeah,
like I
that,
used to.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, I mean, some of it too is it goes back to kind of that point that you made with the car accident and like the things that some people aren't going to understand where people come from without certain experiences in life. And so, I mean, like there's a lot of opinions that are based entirely on the experience that you have in life growing up and who you're around and who you're influenced by and who you decide to latch onto as you're growing up and like evolving into the person that you become. Like there's a lot of that kind of stuff that plays an impact in that too that I think is completely overlooked, and you don't ever get that full picture with a lot of people. You know, it's tough to see all of that stuff that goes into making where somebody's opinion comes from. So trying to sway them away from that just seems like it's that much more difficult because it's hard to see all that stuff.
Well, and I think too, talking about like an echo chamber, I was thinking about this the other day where you have people who maybe like everything that they believe is based on maybe like one source, like God forbid it's InfoWars.
Or Fox
they're looking
News,
at,
you know?
they're looking at 3 sources that are all looking at one source.
Yeah.
So they
Exactly.
think they have a variety of opinions.
But let's say you're the person that only listens to one of the major news outlets, CNN or Fox News. You're either or, and it's this thing of like, if there's something going on in the news that I'm kind of trying to pay attention to, I'll bounce between both of them because I want to see.
I'll check 2 or 3 or 4.
I want to see what they're saying, but I still will go, what in the world? Both of them seem nuts a lot of times. Like, you know what I mean? Like it.
Yep.
But I just question the type of person that could listen to either of them and just constantly always agree and always believe everything that comes out of their
because
mouths.
people don't understand the difference between news and commentary.
Yeah.
Because we don't have there is no such thing as non-biased news anymore. I don't know if there really ever was because it's always slanted with an opinion of the
it's
person,
changed a lot since it became this 24-hour news cycle, and you've got to have content by having people on your channel. So news has become this thing that you're going to sit around the clock and wait to see this thing and see what happens, even though it's probably not going to resolve itself for months. But they make you think that it is because you've got some expert that's going to come on and tell you what's happening.
I think it's important too when you're having a conversation with someone, if they remember, it's like hate at first sight, kind of a love at first sight thing. They remember that
I've had those moments.
They remember the first thing you disagreed with them on.
The hate part.
Jeremy could say to me, like, yeah, I love Trump, but man, there was that one time where Obama did that thing I thought was all right, you know, and then I could be like,
oh, he's one of those.
He likes Obama. And that will be.
I mean, we know you voted for him.
And that'll be like the thing that sticks in someone's head and goes, oh well, I just can't. I don't agree with anything.
And that's all they now
know
that person as.
And like you could have been like the most outspoken Obama hater ever, but you agreed with one thing, and that's the thing they remember forever.
Yeah.
And that one thing that they don't agree with. And so I think, like, how do you safeguard yourself from having that reputation with a person in a discussion?
You just don't get on Facebook.
Is really hard. Yeah, but I think even in a personal like conversation with somebody that can happen. It's kind of that. It's almost like a first impression, even if they've known you for years. It's almost like it's the same kind of idea. I think where they'll just remember that one thing where you didn't line up with their opinion, and it's that way forever.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to change an opinion that you form of someone. Like, I mean, I know there are people that I knew in college that I see them now, and I'm like, man, I have to like remind myself they're not the same person that I knew back then because they've grown up. Things are different in their life and all that. There's just so much that changes within a person, and it's insane trying to think that everybody is going to get along and have the same ideas and be 100% in a unity. The unity comes from accepting that everybody is going to be different and that people are going to have different ideas of things.
Mm-hmm.
We're super mature people.
We never
Right.
argue on this show. If you've been a longtime listener or viewer, there's actually, I don't think, ever been an argument on the show.
Fake
ever.
news.
That's not fake news. It's the truth. It's
fake olds.
fake. It's the truth news.
Yeah.
It's
the thing.
fake new
We
truth.
sing Kumbaya at the beginning of every
Fakish
show.
news
No, it's
is not here.
It's a scary time to argue with people because you might make a lasting impression. And that's the thing is, like, I've been surprised by people I've come across later and not realized that I have somehow offended them or upset them. And it could be over something that, like, I didn't even think was an issue. Like, when words came out of my mouth or whatever, I didn't think I was even remotely close to an offensive statement. And wow, you can realize how wrong you are.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. All right. That is some things. Are we just going to go into the 404 we have?
I think so at this
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do that.
No intelligence found.
Does he know he's dumb?
There's something seriously wrong.
Wouldn't want to embarrass yourself in front of your fellow perverts.
You don't deserve the air you breathe, buddy.
Here's this week's nomination for the hardest 404ing on the internet.
All right. So we don't really have much of a battle tonight. It's just one 404, so he'll be automatically inducted into the Hall of 404s. This story is local. It comes from the Omaha.com or the Omaha World Herald newspaper. The headline is art. I mean, really, an art, like, for a news outlet, when they craft headlines, sometimes they're just, they need to be concise, but they need to, like, convey the story. But we live in an age now where people only read the headlines and they pretend that they read the article. So they'll read and so people start, like, if you look at, like, BuzzFeed or some of these other news outlets and stuff, they'll make a headline that's a huge sentence, like maybe 3 sentences or something, and just because they know that's all people are going to read. But in this case, it's a pretty concise headline, and I'm sorry to overhype it this much.
It's too long. Don't read.
But it's really a beautiful headline. Here it is. Naked man with a sword chased by a clothed man with a rifle.
That image, Kuipers, that image of Indiana Jones and somebody blurred out. Fantastic work.
That's the guy with the sword.
Yeah, pat yourself on the back, Kuipers. Good job.
Good job.
Kind of looks like a Minecraft creeper.
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
I almost said it, yeah, but it's not green, and then I remembered
It's the witch,
whole color
actually.
situation,
Oh, right.
and then, never mind.
right.
It's the witch.
Oh, yeah, the witch from
Yeah.
Minecraft. Okay. Anyways,
Gross.
what's the deal
The
with
naked
this
witch.
naked man chasing?
all right, so a naked man carrying a sword was sent running Saturday morning when another man grabbed a rifle and chased him, Lincoln police reported. The man with the rifle told police that he was in his car at 4:30 a.m. after walking his dog near Southwest 9th Street and West South Street. The naked man approached his car and tapped on his driver's side window with the sword, the man told police. The man got out of his car with the rifle and chased the naked man. As he was running, he called 911 dispatchers to tell them what was happening. A department spokesperson said the dispatchers told him to end the chase, which he did. The naked man ran into a nearby wooded area and allegedly was never seen again.
So it was Sasquatch.
It was Sasquatch running around with a sword.
Freshly
Can you
sheared.
just say how proud I am of that Nebraska man wielding his rifle in his car after walking his dog
and
at 4 a.m.
having clothes on.
Well, and having clothes.
Good job for keeping your clothes on, man.
Whoa! Native.
You make me believe
Irrelevant
in
native.
society.
It's been a while.
A long time.
I thought you forgot about us.
Welcome to the chat. So, anyways, there's your 404 of the week. The naked man with a sword.
Yeah,
Chased by a clothed man with a rifle. So if you've seen the naked man with a sword out there, you may want to contact authorities immediately.
Don't chase him with a rifle, though. They'll
It's
tell
a
you to
literal
stop.
sword.
Do not, not a pork sword. Make sure you do not approach him. He's not safe. He's armed and dangerous. And, yeah.
And naked.
Naked.
and naked.
Not afraid. Well, he's afraid when he's running away from a guy with a rifle.
Yeah, he does not take kindly to rifle play.
Whoa.
Whoa, weird. That got strange.
You guys took it the wrong way, man.
I did.
I don't know.
Shouldn't play with rifles.
Don't play with guns. They're dangerous.
That's true.
Well,
Unless
they're
you're
not
in
dangerous.
Fortnite.
They're tools.
Then play
No,
with
guns
them.
are dangerous.
No, you're dangerous if you don't know how to handle a
guns
rifle.
kill people, Jeremy.
Tools can be dangerous, Jeremy.
No, they can't. The
Yes,
person
they can.
is the dangerous one
But
with
guns,
the tool.
guns kill thousands of people every
I feel like I read that in
year.
a headline once.
I'll agree to disagree with you.
Is this near the Los
one of
Angeles
us is
area?
right.
No, it was in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yes.
Home of the nude. All right, everyone. What is the deal with
Why is
10
everyone
p.m.?
showing up at 10?
We're on at 9, people. Show up at 9. We just had a lovely show, and you're showing up at the end.
Hear us talk about naked men after we've literally have had one of the most serious conversations
In a
for
while.
almost an entire hour.
And they
Yeah.
missed it. They totally
And they missed it and
missed
came in enough time to hear us talking about naked men in Lincoln.
Well, they came for the part they liked.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. That'll learn us.
The people know what they want. The people have spoken.
Remember, we're supposed to know our audience, Kyle.
Thanks.
So we just need to talk about naked men
All
more
right.
often.
I'm going to go. I'm
That.
moving on to the Patreon peeps. I'm done.
Nathan, no.
Well, Nathan, keep your clothes on, please.
This is what the people want.
No.
No, that's not what they want.
You
Keep
mis-
it, yeah.
you
No
miscon-
nipples, Nathan.
You've misconstrued what they wanted to suit your own desires.
Yes, yes, I have. I am fake news.
He's like, and
Full circle.
And
We
I
just
don't
full
see the
circled that whole
problem.
conversation.
Yes, that's right.
Perfect. Narn says, got to go. It was good to see you.
Thanks for
stopping by.
Thank you. very
Full
much.
circle, so that means we got to go back to Alex Jones then?
Oh, no.
Oh, Kuipers.
No,
You've been working on this entire episode, haven't you?
It's a reverse. It's a reverse image. Remember when we covered Donald Glover's nipples with Alex Jones heads? Kuipers has now created an image of Alex Jones nipples being covered with Donald Glover's.
That's the
Kuipers,
perfect
please save
Donald
that.
Glover
Oh, it's
face.
saved.
I think that's got to be this week's cover.
Absolutely. All right, we do not want to forget to thank our lovely, kind, beautiful, romantic, I don't know, Patreon peeps. These are all the lovely individuals that you see right here in Patreon Coral who donate at the co-producer level or higher. That means they give us 10 smackaroos, 10 buckaronis, 10 I don't know the name of the president on the $10 bill. Who is that?
Is it Hamilton?
Is it Hamilton? Alexander Hamiltons. Okay.
No, it's just one Alexander Hamilton that you have to.
Sexy Hamiltons. All right. Thank you very much for donating your money. It means a lot to us. It helps us talk about serious things and really get our jollies off. So if you want to help even more, go to patreon.com/men in the tub and click that button and give us your money. And we would love you for that and appreciate you. But, you know, all good things, unfortunately, must come to an end.
No, that's a sad outlook on life.
But it's kind of accurate.
Is it?
I think the unfortunately is subjective.
Because things can only be good if there is bad in the world.
Light, dark concept.
I was going to say things can. We, as finite creatures, are incapable of appreciating things that are, in fact, infinite because we would grow tired of them and they would no longer.
Yeah, I mean, I got to look at my phone while I watch Netflix.
Right. Now imagine if you were just watching Netflix forever.
Oh, yeah. That should be like a challenge for you, Nathan. You should watch the entire Netflix catalog.
Please no.
Okay.
I feel like he'd be more in that criterion under Hulu.
What if we use
More
the
your
Infinity
style.
Stones to eliminate half of the Netflix?
Yeah. Then you only have to watch
You only
half
have
the
to watch
Netflix.
half.
Oh, good. Now it's manageable.
Yeah.
I was foolish.
Hashtag Kyle did nothing wrong.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, man. All right. It has been a lovely time with all of you people. Thanks for listening wherever you are. If you got us plugged into your ears and you're at work and you're trying to ignore people next to you. And maybe this podcast is going to end and nothing's going to be playing in your earbuds after that. But you're going to keep the earbuds in just so you can ignore people, and you hope that they don't disrupt you or try to talk to you or have a conversation with you, because if you keep the earbuds in, they'll think you're busy listening to a podcast, which now has ended.
Just be careful, though.
We've got a whole catalog that they could go back to and just watch.
Just be careful, because after this all goes quiet and there's no other podcasts after, because this is the best one.
Yeah.
When Judy says something, don't react.
Yeah, just don't.
Because then your cover is blown.
Your cover is completely blown.
This isn't because Eric's quitting?
Not what?
I thought this was the last podcast because Eric said he was quitting at the beginning of the show.
I don't think he said that during the show.
Oh, yeah. I feel
like
like
you're talking about things that happened before we went live.
Which that's actually fake news, so I don't know what you're talking
news.
about. Eric
we shouldn't talk about what we talked about before the show at all.
No.
Ever on this show.
I don't know where.
But you already talked about my mom's cookies.
I know. I don't know where your mom. I don't know where your mom extracted that sweet nectar, but man,
it is so good.
They were good.
It's good cookie nectar. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.